Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at the M36 Jackson by Armourfast. This is a 1/7/2 scale, and as usual with Armourfast, there is two kits in the box, which is great. So from that perspective, you get more bang for your buck, I suppose. The M36 is a tank destroyer, so it's not used in the conventional tank-on-tank engagement kind of scenario. It'd be more shoot and scoot tactics, as they were termed at the time. So kind of ambush type of thing. It wouldn't be able to go head-to-head with the Panzer IVs and Panthers and that of the German forces. Having said that, it's a lovely little kit, shall we say, to put together. It's quite a nice little vehicle, and I think it looks pretty cool, and this is going to be a nice addition to my young lad's forces. I do have some already from Fujimi, so I don't need them, but as I say, this is for the young lad, a little bit of an early birthday present, because he's got a birthday coming up. So let's have a look at the rest of the box. Rear of the box there, as you can see, you get your usual kind of Armourfast scenario where you get an exploded diagram of the actual kit, which is great. That's your kind of instructions, for want of a better term. And then on the right, you have a list of other products available in the range. Usual warnings at the bottom there: not suitable for children under 3 years of age, etc. So there, and then some contact details there, armorfast.com, etc., etc. The one thing with the diagram there is there's one piece missing off it. I don't know, was it a later edition, but there is the breech of the gun included in the set itself, which I think is great. It wasn't originally. I know it certainly wasn't on the M10. It was on the M18, in fairness, but in the Armourfast range, but it doesn't seem to have been here initially. So perhaps maybe it was something they did after they had the initial molds made or production run or something. I don't know. But as I say, there are two breeches in the gun, and the turret has a little place for them to go in, so I think that's great. You seem to have the option of a 30 or a 50 caliber machine gun back there, which is brilliant, because that means you have one for the spares box, and as any avid modeler knows, spares are great in fairness. So from that perspective, that's a nice little add too. So let's have a look at the sides. Nothing particularly exciting there, as per usual, but I do like to look at the box in its entirety. Just the usual caution, choking hazards, etc., etc. So nothing particularly of note there. This side is just as exciting as the last side, and is just the same information repeated in different languages. Both box ends are identical, and as you can see there, it just shows a small little image on the right hand side of the cover art, and then obviously you have the title and various details as well there, and that's it. It's the same on both sides. Okay, so here you see the sprue. So as you can see there at the top left, you have your track and wheel assembly. Fairly basic, straightforward stuff, usual story with Armourfast. Below that, you have the kind of the upper hull section. Nice little bit of detail, in fairness. Kind of a little bit impressed actually with that. It looks quite well. In the top right there, of course, you have the lower hull section, which has a date of, it looks like 2003. It is inverted, so I a bit of difficulty reading at the minute. And then you have the gun mantlet. You have your alternate 50 or 30 caliber machine guns. You have two jerry cans, and you have the turret itself. Just getting a little bit closer there, just to zoom in so you can actually see the detail that's on that. I have to say it's not bad, in fairness. There's a little bit missing in comparison to the, I think it's a Fujimi one I have. But in fairness, it's quite good, and it's certainly a good basis for kit bashing, in fairness. So from that perspective, I think it's quite nice. As I say, this is for a young lad, so it won't need much of that. But from your own purposes, you might like to throw a few extra cans up on that or something, and just dress it up a little bit. At back there, you can see between the tracks and the upper hull, you can see the gun and the gun manta beside that as well. So here, trying to focus in on this small little tiny piece, is the breech, basically. So that's where your shell will be loaded, and obviously there'll be a firing mechanism. This is a very basic representation, that of course being Armourfast, but it's actually quite nice to know that they put it in there. In fairness, it's not shown on the instructions at the back of the box, but at the same time, it must be a later edition. I'd have to check that out, but I think it's quite nice that it's there. As I say, it wasn't in the M10, but it was on the M18. But I think it's pretty cool that they've done that anyway. Right, well, I have a young lad who is mad for me to crack on and get this together so that he can get some tank destroyer support for his American forces. So I will be back to you very shortly with the completed painted model. Talk to you then. So we have returned with the completed kits. Took all of about 15-20 minutes to put the two of these together. A little bit of paint and so on and so forth, and off you go. I used the Humbrol 159 enamel because at the moment I'm kind of finding that that's the kind of the best one for my color scheme purposes. Kind of look quite good for the European theatre of operations, kind of post D-Day, and that's basically what I've been using. A little bit of null and oil over it, and a little bit of dry brushing with a kind of a silver as well, and that was really it. The figures are from old Hasegawa kits. As far as I recollect, kind of trim the legs off them and drop them in there, just give them a bit of a crew. Just kind of, I don't know, they really kind of called out for really looking at the kids. They were just kind of looked a little bit barren without them. The crew kind of made it, to be honest with you, for me, I think it looked kind of cool. Again, no markings supplied with the Armourfast stuff, unfortunately, but probably pulled something out of the spares box, and you know, we can apply them to those for the young lad. But yeah, so the M36, pretty good vehicle by all accounts. Replaced the M10 in 1944-45 thereabouts. So, you know, in fairness, it had a 90mm gun, so that was a bit of an upgrade from what the M10 was carrying. And of course, the M18 was another tank destroyer used at the time as well. I actually have the Armourfast M10's M18. I think the Achilles, the 17-pounder one that the British used. So I'll put a little comparison together there for you in a moment so you can see how they look. The only other M36 Jackson that I have is a Fujimi one, which is 176. But let's have a look at that just for comparison's sake anyway. Okay, so there's the Fujimi one that I did back about 97, I'd say, in need of an old repaint and a few bits and pieces reapplied to it, I'd imagine. The gun barrel is broken there in the back of the 50 cal, and I'm sure there's other bits missing as well. But basically, that was a nice little kit for its day, and to be honest, I think it is still quite a nice little kit. There's a lot of detail on it in comparison to the Armourfast one. I don't know if you can see there on camera, but it is about, at a guesstimate, I'd say half a centimetre shorter in length. And height-wise seems about the same, to be perfectly honest with you. But the diameter of the turret is a little bit smaller on the Fujimi, as you'd expect. Gun barrel length pretty much about the same, though, to be fair. And width-wise, it is a little narrower. Again, looking head on there, you can see there's definitely a bit more detail on the Fujimi one, despite the fact that it looks like it was made by a 4-year-old. Well, I was in my 20s at the time, I suppose, but at the same time, it's not great, and that's why it's going to be redone. There is a lot more detail definitely on the Fujimi one, it has to be said. There's handrails and lights and bits and pieces, so, you know, top marks there, and still a good kit by today's standards. Track's a little narrower there in comparison to the Armourfast, of course, because it's 176 versus 172. Again, height-wise, not much in it. The Fujimi one might actually be a little bit taller, strangely enough, in the hull, but not so much in the turret. But there you go. That's the vagaries you can see with model makers and our model manufacturers. As I say, no crew in the Fujimi one. I'm not sure if there was a crew actually came with it or not. Maybe even the guy sitting inside in the Armourfast one could be from that kit. I can't remember. I think they're Hasegawa though, but there you go. So yeah, as I say, M26 Jackson muzzle bar on the barrel there on the Fujimi one. Not supplied with the Armourfast either. But having said that, that's not actually overly historically incorrect either, as a lot of crews used to actually remove the muzzle flash hider, shall we call it, off the M36, because whatever way it dissipated the gases after the shell was fired, it seemed to kind of illuminate the area that you were located in, and made you very susceptible to counter fire. Rear of the vehicles there again, as you can see, a lot more detail on the Fujimi on the left there, whereas there's literally nothing at all on the Armourfast one. I have to say the gun on the Armourfast is quite nice, and it also gave you the option of a 30 cal rather than a 50 cal. I used the 30 cal on the other one, but there you go. So yeah, all in all, nice little kits, both of those. As I said, the Fujimi is a lot older. It might even have been previously a Nitto or Netto kit or whatever they are from way back, but still, you know, good little kit if you can get your hands on it. Armourfast, a lot to be said for it too, in fairness. It's cheap and cheerful, and it's, you know, as I say, it's armor, it's fast, it does what it says on the box, and it goes together in literally 7 or 8 minutes per kit. Armourfast M10 there beside it on the left, just for comparison's sake. This is another one I did way back in the day. This is down for a repaint to match in with the same colouring as the M36s. But again, they were a very simple kit to put together. We'll do a review on the M10 at some point in the future. But basically, it's pretty much the same as any of the Armourfast stuff, goes together in seconds. But that's the 36 and the 10 together in the one shot, at least at the moment. I'll see what other one I have there. I think I have the M18 handy as well. Okay, there's an Armourfast M18 on the left-hand side. That only came out about, I want to say, about 2 years ago, maybe 3. But it's one of the only plastic kit representations of an M18 that's out there. It's a very underrepresented vehicle in the 172 scale plastic kit form, if you ask me. But still, quite a nice little vehicle, and you know, easy to kit bash and to make a little bit more detail on it as well. Height-wise, as you can see, the 36, of course, is a little bit larger, because in reality they were the 18s were a smaller vehicle, so you'd expect that. But yeah, it did look quite nice on a Wargames table together, I have to say. It's just a shot of the M18 and the 36 together, kind of on the side. As I say, yeah, they look pretty cool, I have to say. They're nice. You know, it's the same colour I'm using them, and that the 159 Humbrol, and they do look well together. And you know, from a wargaming perspective, I'd quite happily have the two of those on the one table together. Armourfast, cheap and cheerful, as I've always said, but if you're putting together units for wargaming and you don't mind the simplicity of the kit and the lack of detail, they really are a winner. There's the Achilles, the 17-pounder in British service, and again, I have no markings on any of these vehicles at the moment, but you know, again, the 17-pounder was fitted basically to the M10 chassis, and as a result, then just gave it a bit longer reach and better penetration up against the Panthers and Tigers of the Wehrmacht and SS, but basically it's an M10 chassis, so I mean, from that perspective, they're going to be pretty much the same size as the 36. So you know, they look good together again on the old Wargames table. Just a matter of interest, looking down into the turret itself, you do get kind of the breech for the gun, which I think myself may be a little bit small. The Fujimi one, it looks actually quite large. Again, the Fujimi one has a little more detail, but there's no innards, shall we say, other than that to the turret. So as a result, you basically just have to, you know, trim the legs of your figures and drop them in there, and you know, hope for the best, really. But I didn't turn out too bad in fairness, so I'm quite happy with them for what they are. So there you have it. That was basically my quick review on the Armourfast M36 Jackson and 172 scale. Again, as I say, you get 2 kits in the box. Usually they're under about €10 thereabouts. These 2 are heading to my young lad's room for his bedroom floor battles, so they may not be in the same condition next time I see them, but there you go. Are they worth the money? I think definitely, yeah. As I said previously, they're great for wargaming, and anyone who likes to kit bash things and do them up themselves and add the detail, that'll be right up your street. Is there better ones out there? There may well be. I'm not quite sure what's available in M36 Jacksons these days in 172. I know the old Fujimi one is still knocking around a little bit. But as I say, there must be other brands out there. It's just that I don't really need an M36 Jackson for my wargaming purposes, as I have 3 of the Fujimi ones from the 90s that need a repaint. So I'm not in a situation that I'd be looking in the market for them as such. But these, as I say, are yet another one of the US tank destroyers from the Armourfast range that we've done a review on, and the last one will be the M10 at some point in the future. So until then, please do like, subscribe, share, hit that bell, and all the other things YouTubers are supposed to say that a lot of it goes over my head. But realistically speaking, please stay safe, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you. All the best.